Welcome to this week's xConnect Northwest, connecting you to the experts. I'm your host, Greg Mills. Today, we're joined by Scott Patrick. He's the School Resource Officer for the Pullman Police Department. Now, before we get going, a reminder, you can join us at home, right into the conversation. All you have to do is connect with us on Twitter at NWPTV or use hashtag xConnectNW. On Facebook, search for Northwest Public Television or by email kwsutv@wsu.edu. And a big welcome to Scott. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Greg.
Well, I mean, truth be told, we've known each other for a long, long time, all the way back to high school, but not a lot of connection since then. And now that we're sort of living and working in the same town, it's great to have you to join me on set here.
Thanks.
All right, School Resource Officer. Let's start by what would you describe as sort of what you are, what your responsibilities are? I could see a lot of different thoughts on that.
I actually have a lot of different responsibilities.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of different hats. One of the, I guess my primary responsibility is to keep our schools safe and secure, provide an education environment where kids feel comfortable and feel safe to be there. I actually have a lot of responsibilities because I'm responsible for all 5 of our schools. My primary responsibility is our high school. I actually have an office at our high school, but I'm also responsible for our middle school, and then I'm also responsible for our 3 elementary schools. And any problems, crime reports, those type of things, or if staff needs help or assistance with different issues, whatever comes up during the day. And then the other hat that I wear is I'm also the DARE instructor for our 5th graders as well. So I have a whole plethora of things that I do, a whole bunch of different hats that I wear.
So you say your office is in the high school.
Yes.
And so, you know, obviously you're spending probably most of your days there, but what is the breakdown? Do you have a routine where you essentially go and visit the other schools, or is it when they call you and need you, or how does that work?
I've been in the position for almost, I'm going on 2 years in July, and I kind of took a different approach from my predecessors. We implemented the School Resource Officer program several years ago, and primarily in the high school. But again, like I said, I'm responsible for the other schools as well. And to give you a breakdown of what my normal day is, there is no real normal, I guess is the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. I try to come into the police department in the morning, check in with my immediate supervisor, and then I kind of go from there. Typically, I'm at the high school. Typically, our problem time is lunch times, kind of passing times with the students. Mm-hmm. That's kind of when problems arise. The elementary schools, other than the DARE program, I have less contact there. And then it's been the last couple of months, our middle school, we've had several issues. In fact, I was there today twice already. Several issues that we deal with there. But I would say probably the bulk of my time is spent at the high school. And like I said, I have a bunch of different hats that I wear there. But primarily, it's relationship building with the kids, trying to be a positive role model for the kids, to be approachable, help them with life skills, help them with tools, and then when crimes or we have issues or problems, I work very, very closely with the principal and vice principal. Mm-hmm. And that's a really, really important relationship. And actually have established really good working relationships with all of the middle school principal and vice principal, and then the elementary school principals as well. And
you're the only one who holds that position, right?
Currently, yes.
Mm-hmm. Has it always been that way?
Typically we've had a school resource officer, a DARE officer, one person. Recently, our chief is looking to add staffing, and one of the staff places that he's looking to expand is potentially adding another school resource officer. When I came into the position, one of the things that I took a look at was, where are we doing a good job? Where do we need to work? And we do a really, really good job in the elementary school with our 5th graders with the DARE program, which I really, truly enjoy teaching. The DARE program is not the Nancy Reagan Just Say No program that, back in the 80s when you and I were around.
Right.
It's changed. It's a research-based curriculum. It's a wonderful, wonderful curriculum that gives the kids a lot of tools, a lot of resources that they can use moving forward. And in the 10 lessons in the DARE program, there's only one lesson that's about alcohol and tobacco. We don't even really talk about some of the other drugs available. But it helps them, it gives them a decision-making model. But where we and we do a good job in the high school as well, because like I said, we've had an officer in the high school for years, and establishing those working relationships and role modeling for the kids. And where our disconnect is in the middle school. And there's actually a DARE middle school program, and that was one of my long-term goals when I came into this position, is to get the DARE program into the middle school and how that fits. We're doing some other things in the middle school as well. I just started, last week, we put on a program online, internet safety, digital safety program for parents. We're going to expand that program to be monthly, at least until the end of the school year, for information and exchange. And then we're also going to expand that with the kids as well, to give them some tools and resources, again, to help them make better, safer decisions.
Right. So how would you describe your obviously you believe there's a great importance to having a presence in the schools.
Absolutely.
And you've described many of those reasons. How does that look sort of going forward, and what your presence looks like, and its importance, I guess?
I guess to me, the most important thing is establishing those relationships with the kids, giving them a positive role model, particularly in the environment that we find ourselves in our society right now. The profession that I'm in is under attack because of some choices and decisions people have made. But I think giving those kids that positive feedback, that positive message that they can come when they have problems. One of the things that I did when I got into the position, typically my predecessors have been in uniform. This is how I go to school, or how I go to work every day. I'm in a polo shirt, or I'm not in a uniform typically, because I want to be more approachable to the kids, so that I can establish those relationships, so that we can build on those things, so I can build that level of trust with them, so that I can be approachable for them.
What do you think about you and who you are as a person makes you uniquely suitable for that job? If you look at your bio, which you had sent along to us, you really have done pretty much everything that I could think of. There may be other places I don't know about, but you've got a long list of different parts of the police department you've worked in, and this, what makes you land here?
I think the school resource officer position was something that I was always interested in early on in my career, and the DARE program was something that I was interested in early on in my career. Substance abuse has always been kind of a passion of mine, I guess, is a good way to put it. So it's something that I've always had an interest in, and I did 10 years in our patrol division. I worked after the riot in '98. I worked on College Hill. I was the first College Hill officer. I was volunteered for that position by my prior chief because I went to school at WSU. I was a Greek student. I had those connections. I knew kind of the inner workings. But again, that all goes back to building those relationships and interacting with people. And then I was assigned to the Quad Cities Drug Task Force for almost 14 years. So I've kind of seen. Yeah,
and that has been, obviously, substance abuse has been a theme of yours. And if you were to string it out,
when I put together the nearly 27 years I've been in law enforcement, it kind of all flows together. And in those 27 years, seeing people whose decision-making processes are not great, and the effects and the negative impacts that they have, and not only on themselves, but on other people and on their communities, kind of a shift, probably the last 5 years I was in the task force, kind of looking at things from a little bit different perspective. How can we help people? How do we interact with people? How can we help change behavior? Those types of things. And so I've kind of taken that into the schools with me. I truly like kids. I enjoy interacting with kids. And I think.
And teenagers at that.
Which is kind of an interesting age.
I agree.
I interact with elementary school kids too, and fifth graders are amazing, amazing little creatures that make, whatever comes to their mind. They have no filter. They think out loud. They speak out loud. They're phenomenal. But that interaction, but also the interaction with the middle school kids, the interaction with the high school kids as well. That to me is the positive that I take away from it. I've told people I have probably the most enjoyable job, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a well-kept secret that I don't really want
well,
out.
Yeah, you don't want anybody applying for it.
I don't want anybody else out knowing that. But it's truly enjoyable. But to me, it all boils down to those relationships that you establish with those kids.
Yeah.
Long term, how can we help them? What tools can we give them moving forward?
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about some of your educational programming. Sort of map out for me what you're doing now, and you've talked a little bit about that, and then let's kind of talk about how that evolves, because you were talking a little bit about how the DARE program, and in a lot of schools it's not even called that anymore, but it sounds like we're all kind of doing the same thing. It's evolved into something different and educationally.
And the DARE program was started in '83 in LA by Daryl Gates, and we at the Pullman Police Department and with the Pullman School District adopted the program or took over the program within our schools in 1989, and we've kind of developed through time, and the DARE program has changed over time. And probably 5 years ago, I want to say within the last 5 years, there were some studies done. LA got out of the DARE program in the mid-90s. A number of departments dropped the DARE program because it wasn't working. There was nothing that we could substantiate.
Right, as it was at that time.
As it
we're
was
talking
at that
about
time.
something different here now.
And so DARE America went back, I want to say it's been the last 5 years, all research-based, all kids-centered. They redeveloped the curriculum. There's 10 lessons, like I said, for the elementary school students, which is typically taught in 5th or 6th grade. We teach 5th graders. 10 lessons that are all, like I said, they're all kind of life skills. We give them a decision-making model that they can use moving forward to make decisions. We teach them about responsibility. We teach them about empathy. We teach them about confidence. We teach them about peer pressure and how to handle peer pressure. So there are a number of tools that they get. And then the middle school curriculum builds upon that. And like I said, that's one of my long-term goals is how does that fit into the middle school and with testing and with some of the other things.
Sure.
It's very, very difficult. And I'm always trying to better take positive feedback or take constructive criticism on the program. And this last January, because I started teaching in the fall to our 5th graders, and we had a culmination event at the end of our 10 weeks, and that actually was in January. And typically what we've had in the past is individual schools have their individual culmination events. And so what I tried to do was we had an all-school culmination event. I had the mayor, voice of the Cougs, Glenn Johnson, come in, and Glenn has helped me in a couple of other graduation events as well. He came in and was our MC for the event, but it was at night. All the schools were involved, and it was more to get parent involvement because our attendance for parents in our graduation events had dropped off fairly considerably because it was during the school day. And,
sure. But that gives you a chance to be in front of them, maybe even just that one time, because the rest of the time it's just you in front of the kids.
That one time to try to reinforce and get them to buy in, to get them to help reinforce some of the lessons that we're teaching them at school. So,
Yeah. And you feel like you have the unique opportunity, I guess, because you're teaching across so many grade levels. You have an opportunity to see it succeed or fail, I suppose. But it sounds to me like you're seeing a lot of kids come up through it, and it's working for them.
Right. And some of the other programming that I'm doing is every semester in one of the health classes at the high school. I because of my background in the drug task force, I put together a drug presentation for the kids. We talk about the effects and, again, the choices and decisions that they make. And then the other thing, like I said, we just recently started the online part of that or online digital safety and that because of the technology these kids have access to and some of the things that they're using that technology for and some of the not so good choices that they're making, and hopefully, provide them, not only parents, but provide the kids with information so that they can make better choices and better decisions moving forward.
Yeah, well, it's great. Could have you here all day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Patrick, for joining us today. Thank you at home for helping us out, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Do remember you can stay connected with us all week. Tweet us, like us on Facebook, add us to your circle on Google+, email us at kwsutv@wsu.edu, and send us your show ideas. If you missed any part of today's show, it'll be available online at nwptv.org. Next time on xConnect Northwest, we'll talk about reintroducing grizzlies into Washington State with EarthFix's Courtney Flatt. Courtney's going to join us live from our Richland studios, and if you have questions for her, feel free to contact with us online. I'm Greg Mills. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time online and on air.